before moving to the regular expressions, that's the next topic, I would like to discuss about the registration restriction policy. So far we have seen that how we can register any endpoint, SIP or HD23 or both on Expressway. So there is by default no policy that restricts or controls the registration, but for security for controlling which endpoints should be allowed, like if you enable SIP, so any SIP endpoint would be able to register. If you enable HT23, any HT23 endpoints will be able to register, or if you enable both, any SIP and HT23 endpoints will be able to register. But if we want to control which endpoints should be allowed, so there are different ways we can create policies, different types of policies we can create here. So we will see. Let me add him. Just a moment. Okay, so as we were discussing our registration restriction policy here, so we will see how we can control that which endpoints should be allowed for registration, and we can implement the registration restriction policy based on different policies that we can create, different rules we can create. We can even use some script called CTL script. So let's see. Here, we do not have any policy configured so far. So that's why any SIP or HT23 endpoints were able to register just by enabling SIP and HT23 protocols in Expressway. So the idea here is that once you have configured Expressway to register SIP and HT23 endpoints or any one protocol that you allow, so any of those endpoints would be allowed to get registered automatically without having any restrictions on that. But we can control who is and who is not allowed to register, or for various purposes. It can be, yeah, for call routings, for registrations. So here we will be seeing for registration policy, we can create registration restriction. So for that, we can go to configuration, registration. Here we can see configuration, which is by default set to none. So there is no restriction as of now. If you see some options here, you will find allow list, deny list, and policy service. So policy service is used when you want to create any CTL script and you want to add that script here. But here we will be focusing on these lists, allow and deny list. So let's suppose I want to create an allow list. Before that, let's just see the status registration by device and just verify that we have both the phones registered. We have uh, 4111, which is our SIP endpoint, which is registered, and we have 4112, which is registered as HD23. Now, if I go back here to registration configuration and I select an allow list. Now, what will happen? I have selected an allow list, so a policy is created, but I have not created a list that which devices are allowed. So what will happen? Automatically, all the devices which are registered to this expressway will get unregistered. Why? Because there is a policy which says allow list, but within that list, there is no one. So it will not allow anyone to be registered. It will only be based on the allow list. So if we go back here on the registrations by device now, refresh. Here we can start. Let's wait for it to restart. So basically what will happen as we have created this allow list, the registered devices will get unregistered because of the restriction now. So we'll have to create an allow list here that will allow the registration of these devices. So let's create an allow list. For that, either we can go to configuration here, and under related tasks, we can configure the registration allow list, or we can go to the allow list here. Okay. Then here, let's add a new allow list. Now let's suppose description, I'm not mentioning here, it's optional. You can configure it just so that it is descriptive to see. But let's just create a pattern. I'm using, let's suppose, suffix here. And I want the suffix to be my domain, g1 dot collab 140 dot local. You can use your domain name and add allow list. So this allow list is added. Both the endpoints have this domain name within their URIs. We have it g1.collab140.local. So now as they are allowed based on the allow list we have configured, so they should get registered back. And both the endpoints are now registered. Now let's make some changes here and go to configuration and change this allow list to deny list. Now only allow list or deny list can be configured in a restriction policy. We cannot apply both. Either allowed list will be there or deny list will be there. Now as we have changed it to deny list, now our allow list, the action will be different. And with the deny list, the action will be different. Like in the case of allow list, when we created allow list, automatically the other devices which were uh, registered got unregistered automatically because there was no allow list configured at that time, but the allow policy configured. In case of deny list, the devices will still remain registered because there is a deny list, but there is no rules configured in the deny list. So that will not be applicable until we will create any rule.